This is Content Kings. I'm here with Alex Dunlap from Roster Watch, and we talk about the news, what's happening with the NFL, fantasy impact of those news items. There's been a lot. I mean, got to be a record for first week of June and impactful news from Christian Watson signing an extension. Rome Odunze, his foot's never going to be the same. Michael Wilson is Puka Nacua. We have a lot to talk about today. Plus, Alex is back from Disneyland. I'm back, or Disney World, or Disney Town, and I'm back from Leeds. And so we'll talk about guys' trips. We'll talk about some new tools at Roster Watch. There's a lot coming at you on Content Kings. And we start where we always start recently with podcasts on the Player Profiler Network, hosted by the Podfather. My fantasy teams. We're gonna talk.
Yeah, I mean, you playing enough these days, man. How many of these Dynasty Orphans did you end up taking over by now?
I took over 20 Orphans in 20 days.
It sounds like you've had to have made a YouTube. Gosh, if you didn't make a YouTube video with that on the thumbnail, I took over 20 Dynasty Orphans in 20 days with you going like, on the thumbnail, dude. That sounds like something that would perform.
It would perform very well if I was able to do that video. I have not yet completed all of the rookie drafts. Some of them are still pending. So my plan was to make a whole series on this. One unified video and then some individual clips. I should probably start this weekend. Like it's been in the plans, but I need to just, kind of put my content hat on. I am a content king based on the name of the show.
Yes, sir.
And start the process. Yeah, 20 Orphans in 20 days. But in me just soliciting, hey, I want to be in your Dynasty League, a bunch of other people have come and said, hey, we have a startup. Would you like to be in our startup? And I'm really a sucker for a startup. It also helps our Dynasty rankings because there's some sort of consumer demand elements of the Dynasty rankings on Player Profiler, the Dynasty Deluxe package, where we can't put a player at a place where the demand for that player is just completely incongruent with where we have them ranked. And we can't put people that use our ranking service and our trade analyzer in a difficult position where they don't know, whether they should make a deal or not, because yes, technically it says they're winning it, but they believe they can get that player later. Right. So we don't want to be too out over our skis on any given player. And we don't want to be so far off the market with some players, just in terms of where their demand is in startups, that it becomes sort of an exercise in futility for people that are subscribing to execute trades. Right. So for that reason, we need to have our finger on the pulse of the Dynasty community and the demand for players. KTC, Keep Trade Cut, they're a partner of ours at Player Profiler. And so when you go to a player page, you can click a link to see the KTC profile and where they have that player ranked, where the crowd, right, the crowd-sourced ranking, where that is set. And so we have that on Player Profiler, and we certainly help to leverage that. But me being in these startups helps. It has certainly helped us tweak the elements of the sort of the profile bonus that we give to players, where we assume they're going to outperform the projection for whatever reason, or a risk quotient that we put on players, where it's just sometimes you see a player going very late and you're like, well, why is that? There's a risk factor that we didn't account for. We can make sure we bake that into our rankings. So that's been great. It's been helpful for everybody. It's been fun to talk about. And now I'm in 6 startups. I'm not done. Everyone email me, podfather@rotowonderworld.com, and certainly I can join maybe 1 or 2 more startups. They're so much fun. I take over these Orphans, and we're having a great time with it, man.
I can't not that like it needs any agreement, because it's just a simple fact, but like it's something I feel like it gets lost on people. Sometimes I feel like I even have to even Cody and Trash Man get tilted at me sometimes, and I'm just like, what are we doing with this dynasty ranking? Like I'm talking about somebody, and they have him ranked 12 spots or something ahead of consensus, between their consensus or something like that, towards the top of the board. And I'm like, well, what does Keep Trade Cut say? And they're like, well, they have him at 18. I'm like, well, what? So what? Or they have him at like 31. I'm like, so why do we have him at 18? Like, what are we talking about? And they're like, well, these are our rankings. I want people to know how I have somebody ranked. I'm like, what good does that do to our users to let them know how you have them? What you need to give them is a list of names that they're going to take at certain spots. It's like the whole reason for I was telling Cody on one of our shows, and it made the show almost like I couldn't even use it on podcast because it just sounded like me yelling at them about process. But I was,
no, that's great content. You're a content king. Use that. That's I want to listen to that podcast.
Yeah, but I was like, Cody, because Cody's in charge of like a roster watch. The number one thing that drives our sales, the number one thing that we sell, is the ultimate draft cheat sheet that people use in their redraft leagues. It's like we do have diehard dynasty people, and we have people that love to come to get the DFS cheat sheets and the player prop tool and all the other tools. But dude, there's so many people, Matt, and you know this too well. It's like, I'm sure with you guys, the number one thing is just y'all's draft kit for helping the everyday guy in his fantasy football draft home league. It's like, that's the number one seller. It's the thing that gets everything done, right? It's like we put major focus on that. And we're coming into the time of year where we do it. And I'm just like, why is it any different at Dynasty? Like Cody, he does every single day, but runs between 100 and 150 manual simulations of redraft leagues that pull in through our tools, through every single side ADP, all the rest of this stuff. It's just like, so you could just say, like you do, Matt, you say like, oh, why is this guy going here at 48? Is there something baked in that I wasn't thinking about? Or like you bounce ideas and like, oh no, he's going 48 because like, oh, you've got his, he's having to get his knee drained before every practice or so, and like, so you put two and two together and you get the ideas, these pockets, and then you understand where the leverage can be created versus ADP. Right. It's in so much of this stuff when I look at doing the rankings, and that's why I was like, in our dynasty top 250 now, it's like you got Trash Man's input, you got Cody's input, and then you have Keep Trade Cut. And that gets to the 1/3 of the pie, just to make sure that we're not, you can't get too far off consensus, because there comes times when it's like, well, why do you take Travion Henderson there when you could take him around later?
That's right. Yeah, no, it's a fact. And I also sometimes just need an individual's opinion on a player. Sometimes that's what I want when I'm deciding between two players, or actually in the second round of a recent Dynasty startup. I'll put it up on the screen. I was in the second round. I started with Caleb Williams, and in the second round, I did not know what to do. And so I called you. I had to phone a friend. I was in the car with my daughter. I said, call Alex Dunlap. Let's get him on the phone. Let's figure out what to do. Bowers is here. Bowers feels right, but I really want Herbert. Herbert's here, and it's 6 point per passing touchdown, but it's also a 0.5 point per first down. So quarterbacks certainly get a big boost from that, but also running backs. They get more of a boost than the tight ends. And the receivers, it's not tight end premium at all. So it's like, well, geez, man, that's a pretty steep curve for Bowers to move up. And so we kind of put Bowers off to the side, even though technically, based on your consensus rankings, you had Bowers at the top.
Yeah.
Listing those players, but the scoring just tilted against Bowers enough where he just couldn't quite meet the threshold to be picked there. Then it became Jordan Love versus Justin Herbert, and
Jeremiah Love versus Herbert.
I'm kidding. Yeah. Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
I was well, God, I'm not going to spoil it. There's a reason why I had that minor misstep.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
I didn't.
What do you call that? An unconscious mistake.
A Freudian slip.
It was a Freudian slip. Yes, a Freudian slip. That's what it was. Thank you. That was actually a Freudian slip, and we're going to get back to that in a minute. So I just wanted to, hey, Jeremiah Love, go. Like, what is your instant reaction? Jeremiah Love, word association, go. Justin Herbert, word association, go. I mean, I met Justin Herbert at the Senior Bowl. That was my first Senior Bowl, and you guys showed me around, explained how it all worked. It was great. It was one of my favorite experiences in this business. Doing this was that first Senior Bowl. Hurts was there. Herbert was there.
Yeah,
Michael Pittman. There were so many fun, great players there. There was Brandon Ayuk off to the side in a hoodie sweatshirt, sulking around.
Yeah.
And he's right back to where he started with his career right now, which is interesting.
Matt, I actually had to use, because so much of the stuff that we this is kind of off the subject, but it is a content show. It's like one of the reasons that we go to those things is so we can save some money on not having to pay for the wire services for all our photos. So we go around and we creep around. We try and get photos of all these guys that we just put our own watermarks on and just use them. That's why so many of our photos are from the Combine and Senior Bowl and stuff. And just today, man, I was having to decide whether or not on Cody and Trashman's pod they did yesterday, putting up the post for it, to put a picture up. And I was looking through there, and there was the Brandon Ayuk, and he was sitting there in that sweatshirt, and he looked very, very sulky because Ayuk was one of the main guys who they talked about on the show. But it's so funny that you bring that up on the sidelines, sulking in a sweatshirt. I was literally looking at that photo just like hours ago.
It was. It made an impression. A couple things made a big impression of it. I would say 3 things made an impression on me. I'm not going to talk about Denzel Mims, who looked like the best receiver at that Senior Bowl, which is just crazy. Still to this day. It's just wild. He was so good at the Senior Bowl. It's hard to even explain to people.
You thought so. It wasn't like a hive mind that we had. He was the buzz of the town.
Oh yeah. On social media, everywhere. It was the Denzel Mims show. Devin Duvernay did well too.
Coming into the week, it wasn't like we came in with an elevated idea of him like we did with like an Ayuk or a Pittman.
No.
We didn't even like the guy.
No,
but he was just that good. We're just like, deny this.
Trashman liked him.
Maybe Trashman
did like him, which made me like him worse or less.
Yeah.
So a couple things stood out at that particular Senior Bowl. Number one, Michael Pittman was an Adonis. Yeah. Michael Pittman made me nervous just being around him because he made me sort of feel bad about myself and made me question my self-esteem because a man could look and act and glide around like him. And I was like, oh, this is what it's like to be near like a superstar celebrity, right? But it wasn't like he was surrounded by reporters or anything. It's just like the way he carried himself and the way he looked. He's 6'4", and he's completely jacked at the time. And I was like, oh, okay. So men can look okay. This is okay. All right. Yes, I'm going to go ahead. I didn't even go up to him. Like I went up to all, I'm fearless. Hey, can you to do the station IDs? Like, hey, you're listening to the Podfather. You're listening to Player Profiler. I did not dare talk to Michael Pittman. But also another commanding presence that I did muster the courage to approach was Justin Herbert.
Sure.
Man, that guy. The ball coming out of his hand was just different than Hurts, different than Jordan Love. There was something with the physics of it, the Newtonian physics of the football leaving his hand. There's just something about that. And then also just standing next to him and talking to him for a minute. I really enjoyed it. It was a great experience. And I'll never forget it. And he just was so young at the time too. Thinking back at how young he looked, I was just like, man, this guy's going to be making millions of dollars leading these billion-dollar franchises. Look at this guy. Like, he looks like he just graduated from high school. And so that was, and then of course the Brandon Ayuk on the sideline, sitting by himself, just in a hoodie, looking at the ground. And then this is exactly where Cody's coming from when he, tags some players as dogs and some players as kitty cats. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's a kitty cat.
Yeah, for sure, man. But so you were having to decide between Herbert and Bowers and Jeremiah Love, because at that point you were just thinking your next wide receiver up would have been CeeDee Lamb, Be interested to see where so we have CeeDee Lamb ahead of Drake London too. I find that there could be maybe a little bit of a conversation there with those two guys. But
absolutely. I think it's a conversation. We have Lamb ahead. Ultimately, you said word association, Jeremiah Love, get him. You said get him. You said I want him. I want him. I want him. Get him. I want him. Get him. I want him. That was your word association.
He's what really got me is I don't think he's even 21 yet, and he's just so like he's not even 21, and he was the best player in the whole entire draft this last year. That's a team that's going to be rebuilding with a really good offensive mind. They're going to have their quarterback situation settled relatively shortly. And it looks like you're actually on the clock back again here.
So I'll let everybody know. I drafted Herbert. Again, it's 6 points per passing touchdown. So getting Herbert the back of the first round is a smash. Go ahead and do it. We have Herbert ranked ahead of Burrow. Just spoiler alert right there.
Dude, I mean, look at what he was doing last year before the two offensive tackles got hurt.
Well, all played for half the season. Slater played 0 games. Now they're finally going to play games together this year. And when you look at pictures, the second-rated tackle per PFF 2 years ago was Rashawn Slater, and he looks like a guard next to Joe Alt. So I'm very, very excited. I mean, there's a reason why all these Chargers are getting steamed up across all fantasy formats right now. It's legitimate.
Yeah, it's like I like it, but I also think that I was just like I was looking at the other guys that would be available, and I'm like, aren't you going to be able to, man, like whenever this thing comes back around, to be able to get like a Jackson Dart or a Trevor Lawrence or something like that? It looks like you wouldn't have been able to.
No, so I mean, that isn't how I really was between Herbert and Caleb Williams. I almost pushed the button on Herbert, and at the last minute, I realized Caleb Williams was there. And
that was my thing with Brock Bowers is I was like, dude, Caleb Williams, like people don't want to realize it because he paints his fingernails and he's like all this, but he could be, I don't want to say he could be QB1 or something, but I think that he might like have the most passing yards this year. I don't think that I'm sure that there's a prop out there for most passing yards. He's not going to be too far down the list of the odds. And then I also think it's like, so if you get that guy who's just coming into his own, right? Just coming into his own, you could have years of that if the Ben Johnson thing is real. And if Caleb's improvement does continue the way that people would have hoped, right? The way that you certainly hope for this league. The one thing I was thinking is if you get those two onesie positions, you get Caleb and you get Brock Bowers right as he's starting to ascend. It's like you got two just, queen pieces on the chessboard there at the onesie spots. But then I thought to myself, I just thought to myself, but I'm trying to build a dynasty roster here where it's like Jeremiah Love is such a sick man. He's so young. Even if you want to build around this kind of like in a hero kind of way, like you got your hero right off the bat, and things are going to open up here with some of the wide receivers that we saw beginning to fall. So that's what I mean. And it's just like, you're just like, what would you do? And I'm like, dude, if I'm in your spot, I'm taking Jeremiah Love. So it was just as simple as that. I mean, it's just like that's who I wanted out of those guys in that spot.
Cody took Caleb Williams at the 102 in another league that we're in. And that was in my head. And I called him. And I was actually hiking up the first time ever. I found myself, I think it was illegally, I was hiking and I illegally found myself on the top of a landfill. Has this ever happened to you?
I have beautiful hiking trails here, man. I don't hike on landfills. I got a whole hiking trail network that runs by this ridge right by the lake by my house.
Well, once upon a time, the brilliant people of the town of Fairfield decided to create a landfill on the oceanfront property.
What?
Of the town. Yes, there is a landfill on oceanfront property in the town of Fairfield. It makes no sense. It's like an Audubon type hiking trail, but I might have like walked over a down fence and found myself on top of a landfill.
When you say Audubon, what does that mean? Is that bird related?
Yes, it's protected, and they set up all of these bird houses.
Hantavirus.
What?
Hantavirus.
What's the hantavirus?
The one that they got on that cruise ship because they had to go to a landfill to see all the awesome birds.
Is that what? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to get myself checked out for hantavirus. Apparently, that's a scary parallel. My goodness.
Yeah.
But yes, they set up these platforms and these birdhouses, and it's protected, and people walk. It's great.
Is it still an active landfill, or like it had been a landfill, but now it's just the bird place?
Right. It's no longer a landfill.
Oh, okay.
Right. It's no longer a landfill, but many years ago, they put but what's interesting about these landfills is there's these little smokestacks. Have you seen this?
No, I've never seen it.
Landfills have vents because there is all of this sort of
decomposing material.
Yeah, decomposing material and chemical reactions that are happening. People, especially decades ago, they're throwing away batteries, they're throwing away. So there's chemical reactions happening, and it creates heat. And so there's an exhaust. Every landfill has these exhaust pipes. It's just not a good idea. Some landfills that are more active, they're actually warm. Like they don't keep snow on them. The snow melts off the top because they're warm, because of all the chemical reactions that are happening below the surface. So anyway, I got myself out of there. Yeah. So right as I'm like coming up against another like fence, and I find my way out of there, I thought I was going to be like trapped. I get out of there, and I'm on the phone with Cody. He's breaking up, but he's like saying some of the same things. As soon as he comes back into service, it's like Caleb Williams could be completely epic. There is absolutely a path for him to be the QB1 this year. And if you're talking about 6 points per passing touchdown, to get Caleb Williams at the 109, even though he's riskier, even though he's more of a gunslinger, I'm going in that direction, even over Herbert, right? So I didn't go Herbert in this. I have Herbert in a bunch of other startups. So I ended up 109, Caleb Williams, 204, Jeremiah Love, then Carnell Tate at the 309. That was fun. That's always fun. And then Chris Olave at the 404. And I risked it. It came back around. I was thinking about Cam Ward actually at the 404, but I was like, you know what? Purdy's still out there. Jordan Love's still out there. We'll roll the dice. Sure enough, Cam Ward comes back to me at the 509. So I get to stack Carnell Tate, Cam Ward. It's my first Ward Tate stack. It feels, oh God.
I mean, it's an interesting stack. It does, it doesn't feel like Boardwalk and Park Place, but like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like, it's one of those ones that's maybe like like a Marvin Gardens type of thing, right?
It's definitely Marvin Gardens. It feels like Marvin Gardens. Right? Well, no, I mean the ultimate I think if you went Brissett, Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride, that might be the Marvin Gardens one.
No, that's like Continental Avenue.
Yeah, that's much worse. Actually, that's much worse. No, this feels very good, and I might have to add, if I could add another Titan, then I could have the 3 players, right?
Yeah.
Maybe later I could go with Gunnar Helm.
Who knows? Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows what we'll do? So now I have the Ward Tate stack with Olave. And what's fun about the early rounds of a Dynasty startup, and it's why I really don't draft a lot of CeeDee Lamb. I don't even find myself drafting a lot of, let's say, Lamar Jackson. It's because at this point, you can have it all. There's no compromise. Like, you can draft Ashton Genty. You can draft Jeremiah Love. You can draft Jackson Smith and Jigba. You can draft guys that are multiple years pre-age apex and still get elite production this year. You can absolutely eat your cake with one hand and then have it in the other hand. It's what you can do. You can do it. And so I always find myself doing this, leaning a little bit more youth pre-age apex early in startups, because why not? And then whenever I see players that are post-age apex get drafted ahead of me, I'm like, dude, you didn't need to do that. there was a young ascending player that's going to produce big numbers this year. You could have just had that guy.
Yeah.
So now we're at the 604. I drafted Cam Ward at the 509. It then went Baker Mayfield, Breece Hall, Bucky Irving, wrap back around 601, Rashee Rice, 602, Zay Flowers. That hurt. But again, I already have 2 wide receivers in a format that discounts the wide receiver position because of the way there's a bonus for first downs, but there's also the 6 points per passing touchdown. So the premium has been assigned to running backs and quarterbacks in this league scoring. Finally, at the 603, Marvin Harrison Jr. goes off the board. Marvin Gardens. So now we're at the 604. And there is a glaring weakness in this team, and that is I don't have an RB2. I have 2 quarterbacks, 2 wide receivers, but in a format that rewards first downs, I do not have my second running back. This is not a hero running back type build. I'm incentivized to go running back here. Hall and Irving just went off the board, and I believe there is a clear next play here. The next move, very rarely has a pick screamed at me more loudly than this pick at this particular point, this particular player. I have teed up in the queue, as you can see up on the screen, 1 Cam Scatterboo. Your thoughts?
I mean, so Cam Scatterboo just turned 24, so it's not like, and he's going to be fine, right? Did you see him? Did you see, like, for as bad as Malik Neighbors looked at that, have you seen him and Malik Neighbors at the softball game?
No.
Or celebrity softball. Jackson Dart was there. Malik Neighbors got a hit, and dude, he was like, Cody told me this before our Sirius XM show last week. I guess it happened on Sunday morning, and I hadn't seen it yet. And so I went and watched it just during the show, during commercial break. And Neighbors got a hit, and running to first base, he looks bad. You know what I mean? Scatterboo, on the other hand, gets like, I think he hit a home run and did like a standing backflip and then like sprinted over there. You know what I mean? He's not scared at all. And look, Scat's never scared about stuff. He bangs his head and everything. Does a backflip coming off of, like, I'm just like, dude, if you're Scat, why did you just do that? Like, that's a big risk to do something like that, especially in public. What if he'd have landed wrong? He doesn't care. He's that confident in it. They have done nothing to address the running back position. Nothing. Like, there's literally been no additions through the draft, through free agency, anything like that. And even if there were, it feels like there would always be a role carved out for Scat.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking at especially as long as Jackson Dart is it's crazy. It shouldn't even affect him that much. But Scatterboo, I have one of our new tools at Roster Watch. You can like look up all kinds of splits. And one of the things that I was looking up was that I don't have the exact number, but it's like Scatterboo averages like 3.5 more fantasy points per game whenever Jackson Dart's in the game. I just think Dart loves to kind of dump it off to him and loves to dial things up for Scat. So with that being said, it's like, what other running backs are even available? Like who else is in the pool? Just out of curiosity, I'm fine with you taking Scat, but just like, what other running backs are in the pool right now? Who else is in consideration? Anyone?
I can tell you right now, really none. But the other running backs are Javonte Williams.
Okay,
Javonte Williams.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs.
Well, that's like, you can't do that right now,
right? Kyron Williams.
Technically, you can make a case. I think that probably Keep Trade Cut has him a little bit ahead, but I'm not going to do it with the Blake.
I much prefer Cam Scatterboo. This is where you have to deviate from consensus. This is where we add value.
Yeah,
right. Our subscribers know that you got to go Scatterboo there. Because of my build really, even though it will be a competitive team this year, it's really designed for 2027 to take down the championship in 2027.
I think this is a good team this year.
It is. It is. But being a realist, there's going to be a couple teams with McCaffrey and that are going to really go ham this year. There's also going to be some consolidation of talent. There's going to be some trades during the season, trades I won't be willing to make, but others that are in win now mode will be willing to make. So I need to be realistic about this, because the last running back to talk about that is available is Saquon Barkley, whose
next birthday will be 30.
Yeah, and I just can't do it. Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I could get a pre-age Apex, barely pre-age Apex Cam Scatterboo with similar role, a similar production profile, or I go Saquon Barkley, who's 5 years older.
And here's the other thing about Scatterboo. Where did he come from? Was it Sacramento State before Arizona State? I forget what it was. It was some little school, right? But it's like, if you think about it and you just think about Scatterboo from back in college, and if all you think about is the Arizona State stuff, you got to think, oh, this guy's got all this tread on his tires, all that. But he's, you know what I'm saying? That's a short part of his NFL career. And the other part was at a lower level where he wasn't getting banged up as much. And then his first year in the NFL, it's like that thing got cut. It's like he doesn't have that. People think about Scatterboo and they just think about a dude that's been, rode hard and put up wet. But it's not necessarily the case. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have the wear and tear that you would associate with the kind of grinding style that he's had, especially that he's had his first NFL full season cut short. Now, it was due to a devastating injury because of his style of play. I do understand that much. But it's not like he's a totally worn out 24.
No. Yeah, he's 24.3 years old. That's what people love about Player Profiler. We put the decimal points in there on the ages, because the difference between, for a running back, 24.1 and 24.9, that's a huge difference, right? And Scatterboo, very explosive. The 128.7 89th percentile burst score on Player Profiler shows you how he's able to do a backflip. And I'm just going to do it right now, man. I'm ready. We've been talking about him enough, and I am frothing. It
feels cool to have Jeremiah Love and Cam Scatterboo as your running backs, man. Like, you're young. What a cool young running back core.
Let's count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, we got Scatterboo! Oh, it feels so good! Oh, man.
There you go.
You got release.
Is this draft been one that's been going pretty quick, or do you got another 12 hours before you're back up again? Probably.
No, this has been a quick draft. Again, it's not tight end premium. Like, if it's tight end premium or tight end super premium, then this draft looks very different. I'm in other ones where I've taken 3 tight ends in my first 8 picks, just because it's tight end super premium and the league is not fully internalized what the scoring really means for these players' production per position. So with the position scarcity there's a lot of tight ends out there, but there's not a lot of tight ends that are going to produce Kyle Pitts level numbers. So Kyle Pitts is lingering out there. You already have tight ends. You just got to push the button. As long as you have a super flex or a flex position to put him in, you got to do it. So I like to take control of the board. Generally speaking, I like to be either the first to draft a third quarterback or the first to draft a second or third tight end in tight end super premium, and then dictate the terms to the board. So on the way back around, I will be hoping to be the first to draft a third quarterback.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I disagree a little bit with that. I would rather not be the start of the runs, but it's better to be the start of the run than it is to be at the end of it. Like, when you're at the end of it, you're a complete prisoner. I think that the best way to do it is to make sure you get it in the middle of the run, but it's not always going to work with the way that the roster that you built has been constructed. And, but ideally you want to be there in the middle, because if you're at the very end, it forces your hand to say, let's like, oh, well, all right, we're about to be out of an asset here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got to take this guy, even though it's like, I'm taking on major depreciation here. It's but like I'd rather have the depreciated asset than not even have the asset at all, especially when it's like a third quarterback. It's in something like a super flex league. It's
the thing. It's so funny. Like, I'm in drafts where we're not even halfway through, and people are already trying to get my third quarterback from me. Like they miscalculated, multiple teams in a lot of these leagues during these drafts miscalculated quarterback demand, quarterback scarcity. Now it's like round 10, round 12, and they're coming to realize, oh, wait, all that's left is
Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, all that's left. What I could go Geno Smith or what? And then so now I'm getting these offers like, hey, can you trade me Mendoza? And I'm like, no, dude, that you had your chance, man. But you just had to get that next receiver. It was just too exciting. You just couldn't. You had to. No, I'm not going to let it. No. So as soon as the draft is over, all these quarterbacks go up in value.
Yeah. Because it's the same thing I've preached for years that everybody knows. Like if you play Superflex Dynasty enough, you just know this. But it's like one rule that you should just always follow in Superflex Dynasty that you should always have in your head. That's up there with that's up there in your mind in the same part of your lizard brain is, I need my head to be above water. I need to be, I need to take in a breath every so often. Like these kinds of things, right? It needs to be like, I can't be in quarterback limbo. I can't be in quarterback limbo. It's you are going to lose, so it just needs to be in your lizard brain to say like in all possible ways. It's like, touch hot stove, take hand away. Right. It's like, I can't be, do you know what I mean? I can't be in quarterback limbo. And so you do what you can to make sure that you just aren't ever in that spot.
Here's another psychological fact is that based on your other rosters, your other leagues you're in, it can affect decisions you make in league after league after league. So I've taken over 20 orphans in 20 days.
I can't believe you've not made a video of like it just says just that. It would do like 1 million views.
It'll do well. I'm going to do it.
Especially if you've had a good thumbnail of you looking real stressed out, like you're, like.
Have you seen this thumbnail?
No, I haven't seen ours for our show.
Have you seen our thumbnail? Because we haven't talked about it yet, but we're going to talk about it soon though. The thumbnail for this show, we're going to put this on. Look, well, that's.
Oh.
Here it is.
Desert Rams. Or no, that's dessert. No. So you want 2 desserts, but you just want 1 desert.
That's right. This is Desert Rams because of the there's news that came out from Arizona suggesting that Davante Adams is actually Marvin Harrison Jr. and Puka Nacua is actually Michael Wilson.
Yeah.
And so yes, we'll have a good thumbnail. I can promise you that. Cam Scadaboo, I will note he is more injury prone now that he's had these lower body injuries. But guess who else has had lower body injuries and is even more likely to be injured? Christian McCaffrey.
No, yeah.
Saquon Barkley. I mean, so all of those injuries have accrued. There's a lot of scar tissue in the legs of Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, a lot more than Cam Scadaboo. We actually that's all factored in to our Injury Finder app. Here's a little bit more about it. You may draft a great team in fantasy football, but if those players get hurt, you're toast. So let's put my glasses on here, and we're going to talk about injury probability because we have the data, and now we have an app called the Injury Finder where you can look up if a player is more likely than another player to get hurt and miss significant time for your fantasy team this year. Running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, tight ends. We have all of their precise injury probabilities. It is in the App Store right now. It is $5 for the 2026 injury probabilities. Check it out. It's injuryfinder.com, App Store, Google Play, $5. You're welcome.
I just saw J.K. Dobbins on there. Looks like you've a 51% chance of injury. Is that what it said, or is that just a placeholder kind of thing? Is that
J.K. Dobbins has several lower body injuries that were major, and yes, and they've stacked up, and so that every injury you have increases the probability you get another injury, which is it's just a fact. It's a physiological fact of sports.
I haven't back tested that or anything like that, but if you just as an observer of sports and somebody that does this for a job, it sure seems like I would bet money that that's true. I'm sure you guys have done the actual study on it.
We could at this point we just ask AI, right? You just and I'm sure they'll come back and tell us. So AI is affecting fantasy sports businesses, right? And so one of the questions that we've had for this particular show, you and I should talk about how much of a threat is AI to fantasy sports.
I mean, it's a nuanced discussion, right? I think that people are having to have these discussions across their industries, regardless of the industry that they're in, right? And not just like how it affects us, but gosh, like how are we going to find somebody here in this building who knows how to use this, who knows how to harness it, that is not going to let our competitors get ahead of us in some kind of way. I think that in fantasy sports, I feel like to a certain degree, we're able to, I think that there are certain people, man, I think that there's certain stuff that AI can start to do now that really helps. AI has helped me a lot with some of my processes. One thing that do you know what AI is really good at, man? Helping you to manage a spreadsheet and helping you to kind of parse through a database and find specific things. If you haven't done it in a while and you wonder what all the AI stuff is about, if you are big into spreadsheets like we have to be for this job, doing modeling and things like that, it takes away sometimes like 4 hours of busy work that I used to have, which is, putting in the formulas, getting things sped out, batching different tabs, all the rest of it. Right. And so that kind of stuff helps. We have a new AI tool that's coming out at Roster Watch that we'll have soon. I don't want to get too much into it. It's in beta. It's finished. It's done. It's a beautiful, beautiful tool that's going to help our users immensely. And that'll be up soon. But that was something that I was able to create just like through it's an AI tool, but I was able to create it by AI helping me code this tool. Like it's like alchemy. It's like the tools that you have at your disposal are amazing. But yeah, I mean, to say it's not going to affect, I don't think for fantasy sports, I don't think you can just go to Claude and say, who should I start this week between Cam Scatterbu or, Quinshon Judkins. I think you could, and it could probably pull some stuff from X where it's like, yada, yada, yada. But I do think that there's things that we've learned about the kinds of, the kinds of analytics and the kinds of tools and the kinds of things that we've just learned through our human experience that help us to be able to give this advice. Certainly whenever you're drafting, I don't think AI is going to be able to understand, leveraging ADP or sweet spots for certain positions or like little tips like that are sort of human tricks of the trade that can be built into tools. And I think we're a long ways off from AI being able to sit here and do this stuff, be able to sing, dance, and entertain, man. Like, I don't think it. I think it's gonna be harder for people trying to get into the space, right? Because it's like if you've built an audience and thankful, we've been so lucky and so grateful to our audience. You've built an audience who you like them, they like you, they trust they trust your advice. Sometimes they'll say your advice stinks, or they'll give you trouble, but for the most part, you have people who they want to be part of this community and they want to talk about fantasy sports, and they're all up in the chat, and we love to have them. And I think that maybe if you're kind of new and trying to break in, it could be a little bit harder. Maybe for that. I know that you've said that you think that Fantasy Pros is probably somebody who's a little bit more susceptible to the actual AI just comes and is able to do something that they've been doing and they've been monetizing as their sort of main avenue. It's like our main avenue has kind of been our community. I'm not sure that AI changes that much. As long as we stay ahead of the curve here and we make sure it's like, all right, well, AI is able to do this. We want to make sure our community is able to leverage AI to do this, right? Which is what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm not saying Fantasy Pros specifically, but in general, if your primary objective is to aggregate information, that's what AI is doing, and doing at the highest possible level. You can't replicate by hand what AI can do in terms of data aggregation. There's no way, right? And you can't, you just can't compete. If that's the crux of your value proposition for customers, you're not gonna be able to compete with that, right? The way we can create something that is a unique value proposition for our audience, for our customers, is to, like we talked about, marry insights, deep insights, with an entertaining presentation.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do those things and then provide fantasy gamers with tools to do make sophisticated moves and make difficult decisions, then you can be not immune from the threat of AI, but you can at least be providing a service and products that are not available just at a keystroke or a prompt in Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT. And taking that a step further, particularly with tools, if you and I, for example, can master Claude, we can build tools on rosterwatch.com and on playerprofiler.com that weren't available previously. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm in the middle of a Claude boot camp so that I can, on my own, for the first time, without having to always be outsourcing the work to
you can
technologists.
you can just create this thing in an HTML and send it to Frank, and all Frank does is just put it up on the site. It's like it integrates right in. It's wild, dude.
It's wild what can be done.
Yeah.
And so forever, like as soon as I got into technology right out of college, right? I started working at a software company, and getting questions from customers, or is this possible, like feature requests, enhancement requests, and always having to huddle up with the technologists because I didn't understand fundamentally. And for decades, I have not understood the fundamental inner workings of code-based products.
Yeah.
And it has been a perpetual frustration in that I'm always having to just trust technologists that they're giving it to me straight.
Mm-hmm.
And that they're not overcharging me, that I'm not paying for hours that are unnecessary. I have no idea.
Which to you is just a death. It's just like it's like sinister life in hell. Not having all that information available to you. Just knowing you, it's you're just like, it's a fate worse than death.
It's been, I would say, it has been my greatest frustration. That whole sort of dilemma that I've found myself in for decades has been the greatest frustration as a person running a business. But even before, even when I was just an employee, I was just sort of running a team that was constantly interfacing with the technology department. Always my greatest frustration. So the advent of AI, in particular, the Claude code, the ability to code with Claude, someone who is not I simply, not only do I not have the training, I just don't think I have the aptitude. Like, I don't think I have the brain for it. Like, I'm just not good enough, period. Like, I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses. I'm not good enough to code from scratch all the tools that we want on Player Profiler. But now that Claude exists, now there is a reality where I can be spearheading the initiative, and I can understand all the requirements and the level of effort involved from the start to the finish of the project. And if I can take a project start to finish, man, and understand every element, conceptualize every element of it, the implementation, that allows me to sleep at night. that right there gains me 20 minutes of sleep every night. A better quality sleep, just knowing that. And so that's why, to me, AI is the advent of AI and the ubiquity of it is exciting for this, because what people want. They want to know what I think. They want to know why I'm making certain decisions. Why are we implementing this particular strategy? Why are we using these particular tactics in fantasy drafts, startups and dynasty, best ball, seasonal leagues? Why are you making these pickups? It's why they tune into the shows like Top 10 Takeaways or Waiver Wired or Mind of Mansion or Content Kings. And all of this is something that is not going to be replaced with AI. But we can continue to augment, supplement, and improve our player profiler tools using AI. So for us, it's a net benefit.
Two things. Okay. First thing is like you said it perfectly. As I'm beginning to start manually testing the ultimate draft cheat sheet at Roster Watch, there's no way I could have AI do that for me. I couldn't. For one, I wouldn't be able to present the way that I present and talk about drafts and talk about the structure of drafts and the anatomy of drafts and how things happen in drafts and what you've seen happen in drafts and what you've noticed happening over time in drafts without just getting in there and just simulating. It's the way that I've always done it. Right. That's when you find the value hotspots. It's where you find leverage versus ADP. And ways to backfill your roster whenever you have leveraged ADP at a certain position, the ways to round out the roster to where you're well balanced, right? It's like AI can't do that yet. I don't know. Maybe one day it will be able to. The second thing I'm going to tell you is if you're working right now with the Claude code and doing all this stuff, something the advice that I'll give you, because you said you can see it through from beginning to end, see it through on your own. And to a certain degree, you can, because you're working with the agent to help you build the code, right? But you look at that code still, and you go to your inspect table, and you put it and you open up the visual code editor and all this stuff, and you still look at that code, and you see a wall of code that you still don't know it from a hill of beans, right? It's like what you need to be doing that I learned that I wish I would have done from the very beginning. Anytime that you're making a tool in this thing within a chat session and kind of like vibe coding and stuff. Every single update to the code that the agent makes, have him create this separate thing called I just call it a handoff doc, right? Because that means I did this in the code. This is why I did this in the code, and just put it in the doc. And then let's come back once you put it in the doc, and then we can move on to the next task. Because this way, when I hand it off either to somebody to an AI agent in a new chat, or more importantly, whenever you hand it off to your web developer, and he looks at the code, he's like, dude, there's like some superfluous code here. What the hell is this? He can just look at the handoff doc and say, like, why did this AI agent put this in there, and why was it necessary? And so at a certain point in time, guys like you and I that didn't grow up doing this coding, and that's not like we're content guys, right? But when you hand it off to the code guys and the website guys and stuff like that, this way you don't have to explain for everything you did the whole time. It's like there's a way that like just a super code nerd has talked about why they did this, right? And so it just saves you a lot of time to make sure that you're always having them update that handoff doc for when you got to hand it off to somebody else.
It's great advice. Great advice. Now, one of the new sections of Player Profiler that's really been a big hit is our news section. And this was very easy to build. We didn't need AI to build this at all. It was so easy.
These have been around for a minute, right?
Yeah. This is just straight up like a WordPress template go. Like no big deal. So I do want to put something up on the screen to show you right now. Footgate.
Okay.
Footgate. I want to get your thoughts on this because this is not every day that we hear this, where a player sits down and admits, this is my new normal and I'm never going to be the same athletically.
I think it's in poor Cody, man. It's like I sent him this tweet, and he's like, I'm like, not great. He's like, no, especially sitting on these, like, he's apparently been on a Odunze just drafting spree in his recent dynasty startups. He says got him in a couple, got him like 3 new shares in the last week.
I know. He's been drafting Caleb Williams and stacking him with Odunze, and then I felt great that I was able to get Caleb Williams for once. And no, I'm not trying to stack him with Rome Odunze. I love Rome Odunze. I think Rome Odunze is going to be just fine. Yeah, Rome Odunze happens to have elite explosiveness, but that's not what necessarily makes him an elite alpha. It helps him with get downfield, have a higher average target distance, ADOT for sure. He is still an elite separator and incredibly strong at the catch point. He's going to be able to play X for 5+ years and be a go-to receiver for Caleb Williams, but he's not going to be that, super explosive, all-world wide receiver 1 in his range of outcomes wide receiver. Even if he's not that doesn't necessarily mean he moves below Luther Burden. So my question for you is, given this news, he will drop below Luther Burden in startups. The ADP is going to flip, but will he flip?
Wasn't he already?
Will he flip for you in the rankings the way you are, sort of quantifying the value of these players?
I mean, in best ball, I've had Burden ahead of Rome the whole time. And people Cody acts like that's so bad. I've had, in the best ball cheat sheet, where is the best ball cheat sheet? I have so many tabs open right now. So for best ball, I had,
while you pull that up, the news is as follows. Rome Odunze will never be the same. That's the headline on Player Profiler. The AP is reporting that Rome Odunze admits his 2025 foot injury created a different type of foot structure with these bones. And I feel like with the break, it's never going to be back to normal. It's going to be like a shoulder injury. He talked about a torn shoulder, an AC joint that's just never the same. And I've been told that. I mean, I tore all my rotator cuff tendons, and I'm now a year in, and like it works well, but there is a stiffness and a fatigue at the outer limits of my range of motion. And it's unclear whether that's ever going to feel like the other shoulder.
That's part of getting older, man. I mean, I'm like, it's like I had the same, I had the same thing happen with my shoulder when I was like 20. So I had to retire from playing rugby. I was like 23 years old. Like, it hasn't been the same since. It's just, but it's not like you can't still do the things you do. It's just like, it feels a little different. But never going to be the same. It freaks you out.
What does that really mean, though? That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to get at, Alex. Like, philosophically, what does this really mean?
And what's the key? And then, like, it's like, even if he loses some of the explosiveness and stuff like that, like, if he can still separate in the ways that Rome's big and he's powerful, he's a really, like, I'd say that the very top end of his outcomes would be like, could he ever be like, he won't ever be a Mike Evans, because it's not like he started out with 1,000-yard seasons, but somebody that's like close to that kind of Mike Evans sort of territory. I think 85% Mike Evans would be his ultimate best case scenario for his career. The 100th percentile thing. I think realistically, maybe if he could be some kind of 55% Mike Evans, would still be kind of good at this point.
Yeah, I just think, a former Bear, 55% Brandon Marshall.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Marshall's that's a good call out.
Yeah. Marshall never was a super speedster, but what did he do? He was able to gain separation. He was one of the best in those sideline routes. I mean, he played the X receiver perfectly, which allowed Alshon Jeffrey to play the Z receiver position and be the closest thing to John Taylor we've ever seen in the NFL.
Oh, I didn't think we'd be talking about Alshon Jeffrey and comparing him to San Francisco 49er John Taylor. So with Luther Burden, I've always had him ahead. I think with Rome, I'm going to make an update actually today to the best ball cheat sheet. I'm doing this right now live to version 3.2. I thought where I had Rome was still pretty okay for redraft, but right now I think certainly after Christian Watson's new deal, I'm taking Christian Watson over Rome in redraft in best ball, right? And then the question becomes, do I want to take him over Carnell Tate? I'm not sure I do right now, but I do still want to take him over like guys like DJ Moore. I'm gonna take, you know, what do you feel about DJ Moore and some of the stuff he said about, it feels like he's taking a while to acclimate to the new job, and it doesn't seem like he's coming in there and he's just taking this wide receiver one role by the cojones, and you know what I mean, blowing into town with reckless abandon.
There is a report from our chat that the Bears are preparing a promotion in the fall featuring Rome Odunze as the face of the franchise. That's hard to believe. That's hard to believe in light of this news and in light of the fact that they have Caleb Williams on the roster. So that it's interesting. Like, would they be all in on promoting Rome as the face of the franchise if the team was concerned, or was Rome Odunze just frustrated after a practice, found himself on social media being way too honest, because that honesty is never rewarded. Social media honesty is never rewarded. It's always exploited. All these players are instructed not to reveal any information about injuries on social media because it does not serve them. And yet he had to learn this way. He had to learn. And now I'm sure he's never going to disclose anything on social media ever again, but he did it. And that's what we're looking for. There are so few windows into the truth as the season and the off season play out that when you do get these crumbs, that's the thing you lock in on. That's why there's so much buzz about this revelation on social media a couple days ago.
Okay, well, still, I'm moving Rome down a tiny bit. I'm gonna moving Rome. I'm moving Rome, and I'll test it, but I think this is right. I'm just gonna move him down back to back with DJ Moore. So these guys are back to back once again. DJ Moore and Rome, even though they're in different cities. And then I have now, and I think Luther Burden. I'm gonna keep him where I have him. I don't think he belongs up there, dude. I'm not crazy enough, and I'm not buying into the rookie year yards per route run and holding on to the priors and all the other things that Cody's accused me of. But so much to where I'm putting him up there with guys like Mike Evans or like Davante Adams or like Ladd, who I think is in for a big year with Mike McDaniel. Like, I'm not going to do that, right? But I mean, I can venture taking Luther Burden ahead of guys like Jalen Waddle. That's fine, right?
Fine, of course, yeah. Why not, man? Yeah, it's gonna be a pass first offense, and they have their two receivers, right? It's gonna be a lot of 12 personnel with Kmet and with Loveland. Loveland in the move tight end position. And the target's going to consolidate around those three guys, Loveland and Burden and Odunze. It's not like Monangai and Swift are target magnets out of the backfield. So, yeah, I love the certainty and the like triumvirate consolidated target tree or the target pecking order. Those three guys at the top, and then there's a distance down to whoever else might be commanding targets. I like how that all sets up.
It's an interesting spot there at the kind of the end of the fourth round of best ball drafts where I think Luther Burden should be going, because you do have the wide receivers like J-Mo and Terry McLaurin sometimes will be around, Waddle, but it's also, that's where guys come into consideration, like your Quinshon Judkins is, I think he's starting to come up a little bit, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And can you explain to me the Terry McLaurin ADP? Because I just got Terry McLaurin in another league in Dynasty.
It seems
his ADP
low, right?
his ADP is the same as Davante Adams, and he's 3 years younger, and he has no target competition.
Wait, his ADP in Dynasty is the same as Davante? Like Davante Adams has a higher ADP in best ball. I think. I mean,
no, I'm talking about Dynasty here.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Because of the age difference, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And last year was a lost season. So he produced last year, even though Washington and Jaden Daniels had a lost season. So and Terry McLaurin's one of these players that's going to age well. I could see Terry McLaurin being out there and productive at age 35. Unlike Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, he's had no lower body injuries. You talk about a guy who is the anti-Rome Odunze. There's no part of Terry McLaurin's body that he's had to miss a game. Like, he's guy's 17 games every year. I think if you look at his injury history on Player Profiler, we might see, a minor hamstring strain, a game missed here, a game missed there. But I mean, it is his injury track record is pretty unbelievable. He had the quad injury last year. That was the first time that he missed a game with an injury since 2020. Can you believe that?
Dude, do you know what I can't believe? I misspoke earlier. It looks like Davante Adams is actually, his ADP is fallen on because I was using mainly DraftKings to look at this, but it looks like on Underdog, Davante Adams' ADP is actually falling kind of down into this territory too.
It is.
Lad is moved up.
Oh, Lad is a rocket ship in all formats.
And it looks like Evans moved up, and McLaurin's moved up a little bit too. So
McLaurin is the guy. I mean, we're talking about one major injury in his NFL career. That's the only time he's ever been hurt to the extent where he had to miss more than one game was this quad injury. Now, quad injury is bad, but and certainly it could affect his explosiveness moving forward, having some scar tissue in his quad. But this is one injury in 8 years that would potentially create scar tissue where he might say, hey, my right leg, because of this quad injury, is never going to be the same. Oh, okay. Yeah, probably not. Yeah, not quite the same explosiveness there. But McCaffrey, Barkley, none of them are the same, man.
With Davante Adams, I wonder if Davante Adams, the thing about him is that people are just thinking that the touchdown luck is going to, it's like, even if you take away some of his touchdowns from last season, he's still like what? Like, he goes off the board at wide receiver. So that would slot him at wide receiver 22. Where is he right now on here? Why is he wide receiver 26? Yeah, wide receiver 26. It's hard for me to get him down too much. Do people like, do you like Burden and McLaurin both over Davante Adams this season?
No, I like Davante Adams and McLaurin more than Burden this season, year.
All right.
In Dynasty also, I believe that Davante Adams is not a one-year rental. I think Davante Adams is going to have another year. I think he is similar to, say, a Larry Fitzgerald in that he's going to play out to age 35, 36. I mean, he and McLaurin, both of them, have identical Dynasty ADPs, and I think they're going to both play out until age 35. And so I think I've been drafting Davante Adams on the Sonic Truth show. So everyone should go check out the Sonic Truth podcast. It dropped a couple days prior, and it's up on YouTube as well. We went through a bunch of these startups, and I stacked Davante Adams with Matthew Stafford in a superflex startup in Dynasty. It felt amazing.
I like that
because I can always get out. If I'm not competitive, I can always trade them before Halloween.
Huh. Do you like Christian Watson more than Jameson Williams?
I do now.
I think I do too. It's hard to believe that a contract would make you do that.
Well, the difference is actually Jameson Williams is 2 years younger.
Yeah.
Christian Watson, because he was at the Senior Bowl, he came out at a relatively late age. Jameson Williams came out very early, too early. Like, as soon as he was able to declare for the draft, like, he's like, hey, here's my paperwork. I'm in the NFL. So actually, Jameson Williams is younger. I think that's one of those clear. I'll take Watson in best ball, and I'll take Jameson Williams in Dynasty.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's right too.
So that's where I'm at with that. So this is we're talking about injuries and we're talking about, medical reviews these teams undertake. News dropped earlier that AJ Brown, actually, his medicals were rejected by the Rams, but they were accepted by the Patriots.
Well,
what do you make of that?
Well, it was the initial. So that was back in March, right? And so that was the initial sort of outreach they'd done on AJ Brown's medicals, that they were just like, all right, there's no reason to pursue this, right? But I mean, I think it's probably it's somewhat worrisome. Here's the thing. I like AJ Brown this year. Cody was the one that talked me into AJ Brown when he started rattling off these 29 and 30-year-old wide receivers that when they get into a Josh McDaniels offense, they come in and they get fed for 150 catches and 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns. And it's like it's happened over and over and over again with these vets that have come in and done it. But I think it's just a 1-year deal with AJ Brown, and the fact that he again gets on one of these podcasts and pulls a Odunze and over talks about his medical stuff, saying that for the Eagles run the year before last or whatever, he was having to get his knees drained every week. And then there's all and people are just so worried. They're like, the hamstring flare-ups and the knee stuff and everything now has to do with the scar tissue that was built up over that time. But I think Dynasty is terrifying. He went in that 5th round of the one that you just took, the one that you're in right now. And I just thought that seemed super, super early. That must be a win now kind of team. But for redraft, I think that AJ Brown's a great buy right now. I think that the whole New England thing really helped. I think it helps them.
I'm in some leagues where he went shockingly early, right? Like same round as Zay Flowers. And I'm like, wait, Zay Flowers is going to produce more fantasy points than him, and he's 4 years younger. So this just feels weird to me, right? This feels weird to me. So if I were to put this up on the screen right now, okay, look at this. In this particular startup, it's not news that AJ Brown was headed to New England. Like everyone's known this for weeks and months. And yet AJ Brown went a pick before Davante Smith. But look at the name and the avatar of the person who selected AJ Brown.
Pats. Yep. That's it.
Vrabel is in the avatar. The name of the username is T-Pats. And he goes AJ Brown over Davante Smith, and that is simply a homer mistake.
It's a bad mistake.
There's no other way to say it.
I love Davante Smith with no AJ Brown. His splits without his splits without AJ Brown haven't really been that good. But the fact of the matter is, it's like whenever AJ Brown has missed time, weirdly Davante Smith has missed time. And I think there's only been 4 games that Davante Smith played without AJ Brown at least starting the game active. So it's too small a sample. I think that this just lines up great for him. I think it lines up great for Mekhi Lemon. I know it sucks he hadn't been able to practice, but it's.
I wish I had more Davante Smith. I really do. It bums me out, but the problem is in Superflex, he goes in the rounds where I am almost always drafting quarterback. Like there's a sweet spot for quarterback there, and yet I know I can get a Christian Watson, a Parker Washington, the Devontae Adams, McLaurin, all the way down to Jaden Reed, Josh Downs, even you name. I mean, I don't know, Jalen Coker. I'll say it. Right, I almost didn't say it. I wasn't going to say Jalen Coker because I didn't want to let my league mates know how much I love. I'll let them say it. I'm loyal to the
Jalen
audience.
Coker doesn't belong in that same discussion with the Parker Washingtons and the McLaurins and the JMO would have been a name you could have used, or Waddle.
No, those guys are going much earlier. Downs goes late. Jaden Reed goes late.
Right. Well, if we're talking Downs and stuff, that's a different area.
They go late. I'm telling you, they all go in the same round. They all those 3 players, Jaden Reed, Josh Downs, and Jalen Coker. They went back to back to back in a draft I'm in.
Coker, huh? People just love him. That's crazy.
As do I. As do I. And we talked about this Christian Watson contract. Okay. How does that affect how you value your boy, Matthew Golden, in Dynasty? Your golden boy.
It's got to help, right? Can't get worse.
How does that help Matthew Golden?
Oh, no. I'm just saying with Dontavion Wicks and Dobbs being gone.
Oh, that helps for sure. That helps Matthew Golden. It certainly consolidates things. You love to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, even if they want to, even if they want to run, if they want to run more 12 personnel, they want to do more of that stuff. I think that's fine. And you got to remember, man, that Matthew Golden, he was only at Texas for one season, coming out of a Dana Holgorsen run and shoot, like weird air raid offense. You know what I mean? He came to Texas and he didn't become the Matthew Golden that everybody remembers until right at the end of the season. And then through that, through that semifinal run in the playoffs, you know what I mean? He was that's whenever he showed off the stuff where it was like, his stats were never super awesome, but it was like the actual athletic feats that he would pull off on the field sometimes looked like Odell Beckham or something like that. And you would just be like, this guy just he's incredibly skilled. And the NFL thought so too. The Green Bay Packers obviously thought so. Took a wide receiver in the first round for the first time in 23 years.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's organizational commitment. That's still the same organization. That's still the same administration, if you want to call it that, with the head coach and the GM and all the rest of it. They've paid Christian Watson. They've made a huge draft capital investment in Matthew Golden. They obviously like Jaden Reed. And Jaden Reed's the one that's most likely to come off the field whenever they go to two tight ends.
Maybe.
We'll
see.
It's
a battle. It's going to be a battle to see who's going to get that starting job in two receiver sets, Golden versus Reed, because the contract now dictates that Watson's definitely going to be out there. So here you go. This is the exact order. It went Josh Downs, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Jalen Coker. That was the exact order. Which of those receivers does not belong?
I'd say Coker, dude. I know that he looked good towards the end of last season, but they took Chris Brazzell. I mean, they have Teddy McMillan, who's the obvious
Brazzell. What's next? You can tell me Leggett.
Well, I mean, Leggett. Well, I think Coker's probably there. I mean, I guess he's the wide. He's the wide receiver. He's maybe the wide receiver too for the Panthers.
He's definitely the wide receiver too. He's going to be out there in two receiver sets, and he's going to be productive. This is a team they're going to be playing a lot of shootouts in the NFC South. You need to get on board with Jalen Coker, an undrafted wide receiver that actually forced his way onto the active roster and then into the lineup as an undrafted rookie. That never happens. Thielen couldn't do it. Even Victor Cruz couldn't do it. Coker did it. God damn it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm taking Reed and Golden over Coker. And I like Gold. I think a Dynasty, I don't know. It's like Cody and I were talking about the other day, and we were just like, Cody was using, because it was the whole Luther Burden conversation, and Cody's like disparaging him, saying, well, what if he's just Jaden Reed? You know what I mean? I'm just whenever you can use him as that kind of talking point, you say like, well, why not give me the guy that could have the upside to be more than a dude that you compare as a worst case scenario for a player that you do like.
I want to talk about Crispy. Crispy's in here. I like the username Crispy3385. He says the Panthers can run 11 personnel, and Coker will be out there with Tet and Brazzell, and that's true. Certainly, Coker will be out there in 11 personnel. That's not up for dispute. But here's the thing, and you see this happening all the time with non-first round wide receivers like a Chris Brazzell. Nobody knows, right? Jonathan Mingo, he was the last Brazzell in Carolina, and he couldn't get on the field because he couldn't separate. So this assumption that guys get drafted in the top 100, they're going to be in the game week 1 is a fallacy. It happens time and time again. This year, you've got Stribling, DeBrazel, Bernard, all the way down. And there's this assumption that, hey, they're going to be out there in 3 receiver sets at the very least. No. We have seen this movie every single year. So I don't know why this happens, but every year it's like there's a Men in Black memory reset for how these rookies are handled. Even first-round rookies, like Leggett himself, struggled to get on the field. And we've seen this with many rookies, even first-rounders. Josh Doxson, Corey Coleman. I mean, I could go down the list of Laquan Treadwell and Kadarius Toney and so many, even top 10 picks, Tavon Austin. There's been so many that they couldn't capture a role in training camp and preseason where they're out there in 3 receiver sets to kick off the year. And no surprise, it's this guy in his 4th year who knows the system, who's trusted by the quarterbacks and the coaches, and he's going to be out there. And you just need to be prepared. That's just how this is going to be. It'll probably be Leggett over Brazel just because Leggett knows the system.
Well, they say that
you could argue he doesn't actually know the system, but he at least has years as a professional that he can fall back on that Brazel does not. Probably more likely, we'll just end up seeing a lot of Tommy Tremble and Jatavian Sanders and just a lot of 2 receiver sets because they don't want to have Leggett or Brazel out there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I think that kind of a weird spot to be in, right? Weird spot to be in with Xavier Leggett. I think at this point you can write him off.
Oh, it's over. Yeah, you drop him. He's one of. We should actually. I'll do this. I'm going to create a list of hopium fueled wide receivers that you can just drop in Dynasty. That's going to be one of my next. On Patreon.com/Podfather. This week I put up my top 10 values in the first 10 rounds of a Dynasty Superflex startup, based on all these startups that I'm currently participating in, and it's also up on our Substack. And so check out Substack.com, search for Player Profiler, or just fantasy football. Like we're one of the top.
Let me ask you
we're one of the top channels for fantasy on Substack.
Let me ask you some of these guys. Can you? All right. So can you drop them in Dynasty? Just regular size Dynasty, right?
Tell me.
Hopium. Let's just go through some. Brandon Ayuk.
Okay, that's the hardest one.
Okay.
That is the hardest one. What do you think is going to happen with Brandon Ayuk, man?
I think he could be done.
He sounds like he just doesn't want to play football anymore. And it's just over. Like, for him to restart the engine and to get back in the mode of coming to the building every day, working out every day, and dealing with all the aches and pains and all of the contact that you have to, and all the fighting and the hand fighting and the pushing and the shoving and the spitting and everything. When you're in that mode, when you're in gladiator mode, it feels normal. But that's not normal human behavior. Just like it's not normal for these guys to eat 10,000 calories a day on the offensive line. And then as soon as they stop playing football, they immediately lose 50 pounds instantly. It's just not normal. It's not human natural behavior. Once you extract yourself from that world for multiple years, getting injected back into it, sending you back into the matrix is easier said than done.
Let me ask you some more.
Well, so I didn't give you an answer.
Okay.
I have Ayuk, and I am not yet dropping him, but okay. I'm close. Because he was so efficient in his final year where he played football. He was like top 5 in yards per route run. It's a real shame what's happened to him. But it's very much a possibility. And I would actually look into this prop on Kalshi or Polymarket. How many snaps does Brandon Ayuk play for the rest of his career? And I'd be interested to know what the 0 prop pays out. but I can't. I just can't. The upside's too great for me to drop him now. He's not even 30 yet. So I'm still going to wait on Brandon Ayuk.
All right. How about Cedric Tillman?
I've dropped him.
Okay. So that's okay. What about Keon Coleman?
Buy.
So you're not dropping him, you're actually buying.
It's over. No.
Oh.
Bye-bye. Buy meaning bye-bye. BYE.
So he's off your team.
That's BYE. Bye.
What about Tyreek Hill?
Well, I'm holding him so I can put him on IR.
Okay. Trying to think of one that's like a little harder because they're younger and might still have some. How about Jack Besh?
Oh yeah. Oh what? Oh no, dude, you can't be dropping Jack Besh. There's huge opportunity right now in Las Vegas. The thing's wide open.
Okay.
He's not that old. And he wasn't in a situation where they gave him great opportunity and he just face planted like Keon Coleman or Xavier Legette. No. Think about who's ahead of him in the depth chart. Jalen Naylor? Right, guys, you could pencil in Jack Besh to play slot right now. Trey Tucker, Jalen Naylor, Jack Besh. That's the 3 receiver set. That's 11 personnel.
Okay.
Now, he's not going to play a lot at 11 personnel because there's a lot of Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers, a lot of 12 personnel in Las Vegas this year. That's what I'm projecting. But still, I mean, Besh is an upside play. With a young quarterback, the idea that he and Fernando Mendoza could maybe develop a rapport in camp in preseason, this is exciting. Do not drop Jack Besh. My goodness.
Oh, okay.
Well, that would just be a giant blunder. I'm trying to get him. I've actually found him on the waiver wire in a couple leagues. I'm trying to gobble him up.
All right, two more.
He's a second round pick, dude.
How about Torrey Horton?
Jack Besh had over 1,000 receiving yards on 16.7 yards per reception, a 70% catch rate, and 9 receiving touchdowns. And he was active on special teams at TCU. My goodness.
And he was on an LSU, managed to play on an LSU squad that had just tons of future NFL guys.
You absolutely want Jack Besh. In the chat, they're asking about Adonai Mitchell. You absolutely want Adonai Mitchell. Adonai Mitchell is a spike week specialist. He's the perfect guy for the end of a best ball draft or just a guy to get upside in flex if you're desperate. There's no guarantee that Omar Cooper is going to be starting every snap, full route participation week 1. This is exactly what we're talking about. This is exactly the situation where we see a lot of guys drafted at the end of the first round. Jalen Reagor. I mean, the list is so long. We just mentioned a couple. Keon Coleman, Xavier Legette. You need to wait. We need to see what Omar Cooper is before you're dropping Adonai Mitchell. There's upside there with Geno Smith. There's going to be more pass volume, more downfield pass volume, more downfield accuracy, and Adonai Mitchell will benefit from all of that.
What do you think about dropping Torrey Horton?
Absolutely not. What?
I'm just asking.
Oh my God, don't tell Cody that. Cody absolutely loves Torrey Horton. He was productive and scored a bunch of touchdowns as a rookie before Rashid Shaheed showed up. I have a ton of Torrey Horton. I love him. There was a big debate that we had of Torrey Horton versus Jalen Royals. Jalen Royals has a clear path to commanding targets this year that Torrey Horton really doesn't with Rashid Shaheed now in Seattle. But, Torrey Horton's an injury away from having a major role. You got to make sure you keep Torrey Horton stashed.
Okay, and finally, can you drop Rashad Bateman?
Yeah, Rashad Bateman's over. Sadly, I mean, you're talking about a massive Rashad Bateman truther, but enough years have gone by where it's just his role is perimeter possession receiver with a run-first quarterback. And that guy has very little upside and a 0-point floor.
Fair enough.
There's got to be another guy. I want to say for players that I have criticized that I'm still keeping, I'm still holding on to Quentin Johnston He's actually been consistently productive, not productive at a high level, but consistent in a way that the other players we've talked about.
Was I giving you guys that were too easy?
What about Isaiah Bond? Like, I think Cedric Tillman's too easy. That he's an easy drop, but Isaiah Bond is interesting.
I'd be fine dropping Isaiah Bond.
Okay, how about Kyle Williams?
Especially with, I mean, they got Denzel Boston now. They have Casey Concepcion. Kyle Williams. No, I'm not dropping him yet.
No, we're holding on to Kyle Williams.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm not going to drop Kyle Williams.
A drop I've made in recent weeks is Roman Wilson.
I think it's fine.
What are you gaining? So if there's an injury, DK Metcalf goes down, then what?
If the whole thing
right, Michael Pittman goes down, then what, Alex?
The whole thing was if Aaron Rodgers was going to adopt him here for a little bit of a rental as his kind of super smart, little crafty, gadgety Randall Cobb type, he would have already done that. We have not seen any inclination. Cody's joke is he changed his number to number 14 in hopes that Rodgers will think he's Gainwell.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's funny. That's right. He should introduce himself as Kenny.
Yeah.
When Rodgers comes back. Hey, did you happen to go on any family trips recently? Because I'm wearing a Leeds jersey, and I just got back from Leeds. I was in England, and I had a guys trip. We went to go see Leeds United. Leeds United, it was tied, so it was a 0-0 draw. 95th minute, Dominic Calvert-Lewin scores the winning goal. The place went berserk. It was a magical day to be on the pitch, and it was a great time. We basically played poker in this cool Airbnb that we had in the countryside, and we're able to experience England as the English experience it without a lot of tourists. The only time we really were, interacting with anyone that wasn't English was when we went on the Liverpool taxi tour, just going around all the Beatles sites, Strawberry Fields and the barber shop on Penny Lane. And we did get to see all that. It was very interesting. It was very cool. Just to kind of see what life was like back then for John, Paul, Ringo, and George. And it was cool. It was in our tour guide was amazing. So we really enjoyed that. So we saw some tourists, right? We did a tourist thing, but that was it. And so that was my recommendation, mansion lifestyle hack for anyone that is going to be doing one of these guys trips is don't pack too much. Don't pack too many activities into the agenda, and try to go somewhere, find an Airbnb that is not a tourist destination.
Yeah, I like it. It's kind of the hack for the player profile draft house, right? Kind of get out of town a little bit and get to see some of the way that the locals live. Yeah,
that's
dude,
right. Yeah, that's what we do with the draft house. We could pay some exorbitant fee to stay very close to the stadium, or you could get out away from the stadium. The nice thing is in a lot of these towns and cities, the stadium is already not in the downtown area. So you can either be close to the airport or close to the stadium, or, some relative proximity where it's very reasonable, and still be in a rural place where the Airbnb is super cost effective and just has a ton of amenities. And that's what we gun for with the player profiler draft house.
Or just to get one that's like when we're super lucky and we get one that's on a body of water where we can fish. You know what I mean? Like that's the best.
2 years in a row, we had Michigan and we were in Tampa. We were on the water and you caught a bunch of fish. We didn't catch you caught a lot of fish.
Well, we all caught fish.
We all caught fish, so we did.
I caught a bunch of fish this last week, man. My son did too. It was a great time. The best part of that, we took a family trip. My daughter, she had so it's her first year with this whole thing doing like the travel sports, and she's playing basketball with AAU for a 5th grade team. And so
wow, nice.
They had to travel to Orlando for the ESPN Wide World of Sports Memorial Day Classic that they played in. And Dude, her first game, they played against this EYBL team from Atlanta. Dude, it was a 5th grade team, and one of the girls on the team had a tattoo sleeve. I think it had to have been fake. But dude, our girls, yes! Dude, they couldn't get past half court versus these girls, but they ended up making the bronze division championship, to where they ended up winning medals and stuff like that. They ran through their division. It was bronze division. They got bounced out of the gold division with that first matchup. Yeah. But so that was fun. But so we got a couple days in Orlando before we were going to head to Longboat Key, where Byron lives, and go fishing with Byron and go hang out there, more of a laid back time. And so we had some days in Orlando, and I'll tell you what, dude, I don't know how normal families can afford to go to this place.
It's crazy.
Everything's so expensive. Even when it's like, even my family, right? They didn't even want to go to Disney World. They didn't want to go to the new Universal Park or anything. They wanted to go to this thing, like Universal's got like a water park there, right?
Super
yes,
fun,
right? But
yes.
That way,
Volcano Bay.
Yeah, Volcano
Bay with the super steep slide from the mountain, from the top of the mountain.
Yeah, me and my son did that slide over and over. They got the aqua coaster that's just super sick. But it's like, at least that way you can get, like, it's so hot down there, man. At least that way you can get in the water between rides. But I'll tell you this, just something to keep an eye out for there, man. Everything's so expensive. For two, if you pay like so many people do with like credit card rewards points for these hotels, you get out of there and you realize, like, you've only paid for half your hotel, because you get this invoice for, like, you know, what would be the cost of the hotel, because they charge you like $90 a night resort fees, and, you know, $25 a night this fee and all the rest. And then the most messed up thing is, after you've given them an arm and a leg to enter into this park, right, you realize your kids aren't gonna get to ride a single ride unless you fork out like $130 each to get this stupid fast pass, where they get to cut in line.
You have to get the fast pass. No, they get you, man. They get you every which way.
It's like, I just get done paying this for, like, I literally just got done cutting off my pinky finger and giving it to these people. And like, now you're telling me if my kids are going to ride any rides, I got to pay $130 each for them to have a pass where they can go cut in line and act like little creeps. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, that's what we're going to need. And your bottle of water is going to be $12 too.
My favorite part of Volcano Bay is that they have the watch, and you just program where you want to go, and it'll alert you. And then if you go at a time, it'll stagger everybody, so you don't have to wait in line. You just show up and you take the ride. So that's such a cool thing that they have there at Volcano Bay. I love that.
They've discontinued that technology as of like last March.
Oh.
Yeah. So
they used to. It was amazing when they had it.
I definitely read about that, but it was discontinued.
So I do have a personal preference that whenever we go to a water park, I need to be in a cabana. I absolutely need to be in a cabana. I cannot be out on the sand. I despise trying to like maneuver these umbrellas to try to get a place, and then I have like sand all over me, and I'm trying to like get comfortable, and I'm always uncomfortable, and I'm just miserable. And so my wife's like, if we're going to any water park, we need to get a cabana, because you know how Dad gets, right? So because they know I'm going to be super cranky, you know, if I'm schlepping umbrellas and I'm trying to do all that, and I'm just going to be miserable.
Got sand in your towel.
I'm going to be so mad. So I was like, listen, it's got to be, I'm sorry. This seems super high maintenance, and I get it, but I gotta be in one of these cabanas, or I don't want to go. Like, I'll go. There's so many other parks. There's so many other activities we can do. Just please don't put me in that position where I'm going to be a misery. I don't want to be a misery. I want to be fun. I want to be jovial. I want it to be a great time. But you know that just, I don't like hot sand on my body. I don't like it. I hate it. And I don't like the beach for that reason. But these parks are really fun, right? Yeah.
The rides are killer, dude. They're
really fun. They're really fun. And I'm like, if we can somehow, if I can get there and I can go down the slide with you, or the aqua coaster, and then I can be in the shade and I'm not sandy, I'm not covered in hot sand, then it's fine, right? But then that adds a whole expense. And it's like, well, do you know how much just the cabana is? You know, The one thing though, they do have like a butler or whatever for the, but it's just you add that expense, and that's just because of my own, preclusions. So whatever it is, we ended up for a similar length trip, right? So we did.
It's like expensive as going to Europe or something, dude.
We did a week. We did 2 weeks in Japan. And the year before, the similar, during my daughter's school break, the year before, we had gone to Universal for a week. So on a per week basis, Florida is more expensive than Japan. If you include the flights, because the flight is the big expense. Now, when we went to Japan, we did stay with friends for a period of time. But that's the point, man. We don't have any friends in Orlando. Okay? I don't think anybody does. Right? It's just all tourists. That's the whole point. It's like you can do creative Airbnb stays and stay with friends. And you go to Europe or you go to Asia or you go wherever. You could do so, or you go somewhere in the United States. Like if I were to travel to Texas or something, we could stay with the Dunlaps. Right? And there's all these ways you can have a great time and not spend so much money that it ends up like becoming this weight on you, this debt that you have to pay back. So that when I'm trying, there's talk right now of going back next year. And I am actively trying to figure out if there's a way we can do literally anything else. My only problem is this new Universal Epic Park. It does look fun. Right. So it's hard. Like there's this debate and I'm like, and it's not hard to get me. Like you could start talking about the things of this new Epic Park. And it's like, well, that does sound good. That would be cool. Yeah, that does sound fun. Damn it.
Do you know my best bit of advice, Matt? If you go do it, just make sure that one thing happens and make sure you get this thing completely straight. Okay. All right. This is my biggest advice that I'm going to give you. Do not come home to a broken air conditioner.
That's what you're doing yesterday, man. Working on the air conditioner.
It's what I've been doing for ever since you got back. I mean, just don't do it. Just make sure not to come home to a broken AC.
My dad said these things used to last 25 years. Not anymore. Not anymore. Sadly, not anymore. But we're not going to leave the people here with air conditioner talk. Okay. I want to ask you about Deion Sanders. He wants to meet with Todd Monken, and Todd Monken has reportedly said that he's excited to meet with him. He can't wait. Todd Monken, I think one of his first priorities as coach was to meet with fellow coach Deion Sanders. He said he can't wait. He's very very excited about this.
This is why Colorado's got the longest odds of any team in the Big 12 to win this year, because Deion's more focused on talking, I guess.
So what do you think is going to happen in Cleveland? How do you think it's going to play out, this quarterback competition? When you're projecting games played for Watson versus Sanders, how are you thinking about this?
I think it's it's really impossible.
It's hard.
We know that the Cleveland media will keep us informed of what's going on. The fact of the matter, the one problem is they're the most cockamamie beat that there is, and they all have their own ideas that they insert into everything. So
there is a lot of conflicting reports from the
you get a lot of reporting.
The Cleveland Plains dealer.
Yeah, but you don't ever know. We're talking about the Mary Kay Cabots and the Tony Grossies of the world. It's Zach Jackson. It's an eclectic crew, and I just right.
Yeah.
I think about it like my initial thought was that it felt like Deshaun Watson kind of had a little bit of a lead with it, but then more recently you're hearing that it's tightened up and it feels like it's a real battle between the two guys. I haven't had to go and project it just yet, but I think if you had to right now, it would just have to be a placeholder projection until we get more information, right? I think the placeholder projection I would give would be maybe give one guy 8 games, one guy 9 games. Probably Deshaun Watson to start the season, and then Shedeur once that thing blows to smithereens.
It's 8 and 9, man. It's just 8, and that's all you can do. It's just 8 and 9 it. I wish there was a bet. The problem is that Sanders held the ball longer than any other quarterback in the league last year, and he had more interceptions than touchdowns. These are bad stats, bad metrics, bad stats. Now, Deshaun Watson has his own problems. You know, the league bottom yards per attempt and no air yards. He has no arm strength left. He has no lower body, fast twitch muscle fiber left. He can no longer escape. He's basically.
Are you with me and Cody that you're more worried about the shoulder stuff than any of the leg or knee stuff?
I think well, I mean, he already was lacking arm strength before. So we may find ourselves in a situation where it's week 2, week 3, and everyone's come to Jesus and realized, oh wait, Deshaun Watson can't even throw. Like he doesn't have the requisite arm strength to be a starting quarterback and to manage a team. And that's not going to become apparent until as the summer starts to play out. And they might just be forced to go with Shedeur for that reason. And just, because they're trying to lose games anyway. This is Miami and Cleveland are two of the few teams that are openly tanking. So again, Shedeur Sanders is a way to lose games. If he's going to throw all these interceptions, right? It's just, what do you want? Do you want the low ADOT and tons of sacks? Or do you want less sacks, but more interceptions and a higher target depth? I mean, again, to me, you're tanking anyway. Find a way, right? Fake injury, get this guy out of here. Get Deshaun Watson out of here. I mean, there's never been a better time for a fake injury to befall a player than just to get Deshaun Watson out of there. Then you can finalize the depth chart. If Sanders on top, then Gabriel, and then they just drafted a quarterback as well. So then you can actually get some more reps for everybody on all the quarterbacks on the depth chart
before you go into 2027 and just take a new one all over again.
Exactly. So you know what you have. Who is Taylon Green? Like when you look at Taylon Green 6'6".
I can tell you exactly who Taylon Green is. We know exactly.
20. Like he is interesting. I mean, they drafted him in round 6. He's a 6th round pick. He's unlikely to ever do anything. But he's big and strong and interesting at the very end. He has the physical, sort of the physical presence. He has the stature of a starting quarterback in the league. And for that reason, in some deep super flex and 2 QB leagues, I actually have him stashed.
Right. So you can have the next Logan Thomas.
That's probably what he is, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, again, I'm in these deep dynasty leagues where I have George Halani, right? It's not like it's not a big trade-off between him and Tyler Goodson. You see? Well,
I would say you could probably add Tyler Goodson to your safe to drop list we were talking about for wide receivers earlier. Right?
Have you whoa. Have you seen the Atlanta depth chart?
What? Have
you seen the Atlanta depth chart?
I don't care. I don't care. There's no, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Okay. All right.
Tyler
Goodson is the locked-in RB3. He's going to make the active roster. And he is a better receiver out of the backfield. He has more dynamism than Brian Robinson.
Okay.
So in deep dynasty leagues, super deep dynasty leagues, I actually have a bunch of Tyler Goodson.
You really do?
Oh, yeah.
Man, you're all right. I guess you're just kind of thinking about things
I'm in these leagues where there's like 40 roster spots. If you're in a dynasty league with 40 roster spots, then you have the luxury of picking up pretty much every RB3 that exists.
Yeah. Well, some luxury that is.
Some luxury that is. Hey, stranger things have happened than Tyler Goodson having some fantasy relevant seasons this year. I mean, this is precisely the type of player, age 25, athletic, and hanging around the league the last couple of years.
Is he only 25? Are you kidding me?
Well, he's technically 25.5.
Huh. Okay. Well, I guess he's a little younger than I was giving him credit for.
Yeah, so he's actually, I think I would rather have Tyler Goodson than Keon Coleman. There's actually more upside in the event of an injury to Bijan, which we do not want to happen. There's more upside for Goodson. There's more contingent value there than there is with Keon Coleman, who is a definitive 0 forever. And I just saw Cody trade for Keon Coleman, so I know that Cody and I disagree on that, and you can bring that to his attention. You did mention the Makai Lemon injury earlier, and we should circle back to this because this is interesting. This could potentially affect him, right? In terms of his ability to produce early in the season. I think this is a footnote that is worth exploring. It's not something just to dismiss. And he has been sliding. I've noticed he has been sliding in startup drafts in particular. He's been going several rounds after Jordan Tyson.
You've seen him going several rounds in startups?
2 to 3 rounds after Jordan Tyson. Yes. This injury, it affects people. It shouldn't. It's just a hamstring strain. Remember, Odell Beckham Jr. started his career with a hamstring strain in the spring and summer. And he put up some pretty good fantasy seasons. Some pretty good performances. So I think Makai Lemon's going to be just fine. But the idea that he's missing camp and missing the installation of these plays, it is a concern.
No, of course it's a concern. I mean, you could tell, like what they say, he's out there getting mental reps. I mean, he's that's what they always say. It's like, it's
always,
okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. He's out there getting mental reps. I mean, they got to be moving around. They got to see the way they're, what they're actually learning and what's going in between their ears and stuff like that, how it translates to the way their body actually moves, right? The actual locomotion of what's being asked of them. So it's very important. You're transitioning levels of football, right? So it's more important for a rookie than anybody else. With that said, it feels to me like almost out of all these rookies, just given the actual skill set that Makai Lemon has, I'm less worried about him having to miss time right now than I would be about Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate having to miss time right now, because I feel like they're a little I feel like that their skill sets are a little bit more conducive to being more productive whenever they're on this, really on the same page of their quarterbacks with, timing, touch route, stuff like that. Whereas Makai Lemon just brings this juice to the table where he's one of these guys that's just a small area separator that can just, get it done in those kinds of ways and not necessarily have to have his quarterback throw him open. Not that Tate or Tyson have to have their quarterback throw them open, but you did see that, with Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson and with Julian Sayin and Carnell Tate, so much of that stuff had to do with that connection that they had and their quarterback knowing right where to put it. So I'm not as worried about it with Makai Lemon. I think it's fair that Jordan Tyson goes ahead of Makai Lemon as far as whether there should be a multi-round discount for the guy. That's a discount that I'm certainly taking right now for sure.
Drafting Makai Lemon is the right move. I've wanted him. I've been a pick away or 2 picks away from getting Makai Lemon in several drafts. It's heartbreaking. I keep thinking he's going to slip to me. I'm like, oh my God, Makai Lemon's falling. Oh, not quite there. Not quite there. But week 1, given that he's missed all this time, you got to be prepared for the starting lineup to be Davante Smith at Z, Dontavian Wicks at X, and Marquise Brown at Y. That is going to be the starting lineup for the Eagles week 1. Now, week 2 could be Lemon taking over for Wicks, or Lemon moving into the slot, taking over for Marquise Brown. I don't know exactly how it's going to shake out, but I sense, basically Lemon not being used much in the first week or 2 before he starts to get integrated into the offense, which is exactly what happened with Odell Beckham Jr. in his rookie season.
So you get to week 1. How are we going to have them ranked? Because you'll have Philadelphia, which will have a 26-point implied team total in that first game. You'll have Tennessee for Carnell Tate, which will only have a 21.25 point
against who?
Team total. So for Tennessee, that is versus got to go to a different tool. That's versus the Jets.
Oh, what?
So you get
only a 21 point. Oh God, that's a bet I'll take right there.
And then
you bet on the Titans in week 1.
And then you get New Orleans is playing Detroit.
Oh boy.
That one is New Orleans implied team total, and that one's only a 20.75 though.
What?
So you get Philadelphia playing at home versus Washington with a 26 point implied team total. It's like by the first week of the season, we could be saying that Mekhi Lemon's actually ranked higher as a week. Sometimes you look and you say, like, what am I going to do in week one when you're making these decisions about your redraft teams? It's like in week one, I don't think it's too far out of the realm of
Lemon might not play much in week one at all. He could barely play in he could be a game day inactive week one.
Or he could go off for 9 receptions for 132 and 2.
It's either one are very possible. But I mean, they traded multiple picks to bring in Wicks. They signed Marquise Brown, promising him that he'd get slot snaps. So we'll and Davante Smith's not coming off the field. Jordan Tyson against the Lions feels like the play there.
It probably is.
I mean, that is the play. The two bets that I love. I just love it.
Dome game.
From what I just heard, they were both New Orleans and Detroit both playing domes. So
right.
The bets that I heard that I like are just straight up take the Titans against the spread, but also I like the Saints Lions over.
Yeah, fair enough. Go. Yeah,
that's what I'm gleaning from that.
Come for the Arizona Cardinals talk. Stay for the Disney tips, and then get out of here on the hot gambling tips for week one. Now that we're 82 days away.
Well, we'll give them one more hot tip because we teased this at the beginning, and it is the thumbnail of the show. And that is what's happening with this Arizona passing game, because I keep trying to get Michael Wilson. I keep getting sniped on Michael Wilson. I keep pushing it an extra round. I know I should be picking Michael Wilson at a particular slot based on ADP. And then I feel like, well, people don't like Michael Wilson because they feel like he hit all of his stats last year were super inflated by the high pass rate and the fact that Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't play. So you bring Marvin Harrison Jr. back. You now have uncertainty at the quarterback position, and they add a running back in the top 5 of the NFL draft. What does that tell you? Well, the pass rate's going to get turned down. There's going to be more handing the ball off. There's not going to be as efficient quarterback play with Jacoby Brissett not even participating. So where does Michael Wilson stack up in that scenario as the wide receiver 3 for that particular team? He's at the age apex already. He's, 26 and a half years old. So he's not like a 24-year-old. He's not like Parker Washington. That's why I have Parker Washington ranked ahead of him. Parker Washington's, in a similar situation actually, but a couple of years younger. So I've been desperately wanting some more Michael Wilson because I do love him. And I felt a little bit of that aura around him that I felt with Michael Pittman at a previous Senior Bowl. So I really want Michael Wilson. And then we hear the news. The news comes out. Oh, actually, the Cardinals are implementing the Rams offensive scheme. And lo and behold, they have Michael Wilson locked in as the Z playing the Puka Nacua role.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. But it's like we talked about. It's like, does that mean that Carson Beck is in the Matthew Stafford role? It doesn't mean that he's Matthew Stafford, right? Quarterback situation still unsettled, but it does. I mean, if you're talking about roles and if you're talking about MHJ and you're talking about Michael Wilson, it's not that Davante Adams is a fantasy guy that you don't want or is a complete dud or anything like that. But if you're asking me the profile that's been better for fantasy, it's been better for volume, it's been better just overall, it's been the Puka Nacua role.
We've talked about this on many shows, and I credit Lord Reeves, Rich Rebar, for bringing this to my attention. Basically, he laid out and drew a line in the sand and said, actually, the NFL is not the NFL of 10 years ago. Right? the Brandon Marshalls are largely disappeared. Like they've gone extinct. Like they're trying to keep Mike Evans, right? They're trying to make sure he survives, his species survives under any circumstances. Like there's a cadre of biologists surrounding Mike Evans at all times, just to make sure they're studying him. He's wearing one of those anklets,
monitors.
One of those anklet monitors that has a radio beacon and a satellite beacon, and they're always measuring him and seeing where he's at, seeing what he's eating. They're always examining his feces.
They have to make sure that he has proper migration corridors from different different biosphere to different biosphere,
right, because the invasive species is the new NFL Z receiver. That it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, they're taking over. They're eating all the targets that Jameson Williams thought he was going to get coming into the league. Right. And that's what's happening. And if that happens this year, dude, if that happens, I'm telling you, man, if that happens this year with Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr., I mean, look out. I mean, do you Alex, you will never, and I repeat, never, if they both play 17 games and Michael Wilson outscores Marvin Harrison Jr. this year, you will never, ever wipe the smile off my face. You know, it's important to me that all of our media be free, but it is you, the premium subscriber, with access to data analysis, the rankings, Dynasty Deluxe, DFS Dominator, the world-famous draft kit. You get that content and you make all of this possible. The free podcasts, articles, NFL draft content. So I must give a special thanks to all of our premium subscribers. You make all of this possible.